Hey guys, how's it going today? So today I'm going to be replacing the ignition switch in my 79K10. So a little backstory on this, I have a video of me replacing the neutral safety switch. And I started having issues again, and it may not have been it the whole time. I went to go drive it. I had an appointment, haircut appointment, that needless to say, I needed to use the truck. Chevy 2's out of commission. Hopped in here, went to start it, nothing. I can usually get it in neutral, so I, jam up on the steering column, get it to do its thing, nothing. Go to neutral, usually it starts there, nothing. So I go, okay, I'm done messing with this. I'm just gonna jumper it. So I pull the purple and yellow wire off the neutral safety switch right here. Pull that off. I put my little jumper in. Nothing. So at this point I figured either I've crossed wires and that wasn't what it should have been, which it is, that is the neutral safety switch wiring, or something else is burnt up. My first thought was that fuse in the wiring harness on the positive side. I've popped those before in my other Nova, in a Nova I should say, due to the fact I got the starter wiring got pinched up between the block and the starter at one point in time, wasn't realized, it got put on, and then eventually that wiring touched the side of the block and shorted it out. So I figured something similar like that happened. However, I grabbed my test light, I should use a multimeter, and I put it up to the purple wire, run the ignition, nothing. Okay. Put it up to the yellow wire, run the ignition, nothing. Okay, so we're not getting power to that. I printed out the 5 pages of chassis, wiring, interior, instrument, traced it all down. I am getting 12 volts to the fuse block, and I'm getting 12 volts to the alternator. So that means I'm getting power. I also have headlights, I have turn signals, I have power. It's just not starting. Okay. So I've kind of ruled it out to this. So long story short, now that I've had this long-winded conversation, I'm going to start on pulling the steering column out. So what you'll have to do is obviously you have to take off the 3 screws here, which I've already done. Then there's 2 screws here. I believe there's only 2. Maybe there's 3. If you don't have it, congratulations. One less thing you have to worry about. Next thing I'm going to do is you need to remove this screw here, because this is the thing that holds the little corded rope to pull your slider for your gear selector. Now you'll have to remember that these are really cheap and these break all the time, so you have to be very careful. I'm hoping I can get in there and loosen that screw without having much trouble, I hope. Oh, it's not going to be good. I'm going to have to work at this. I'm going to put the camera down. A little trick you could do to help yourself, I was dumb and should have done this at the beginning, is just put it in neutral, which obviously isn't going to show up there now that I have it down here, but you could put it in neutral and it'll turn it around. I'm going to have to glue that piece back in, but that's not that big of a deal. I just didn't want to pull the steering column down and have this break and not be able to use it. It's kind of nice to have, but you don't really need it. So I'm going to continue on here, picking up these pieces that I broke and see what happens. If you have an AC truck, you're going to have to loosen this up. I just slid it off to this side. I'm hoping that it drops down far enough that I'll be able to reach in there and get the screws, because the screws are... There's 2 screws to take the steering column out, one here and of course one on this side. That'll lower this. I may have to loosen it up here at the firewall and farther down at the column. I'm hoping I don't have to, but if I have to, I will, because the plugins I need are right here. And basically what I'm looking for is right on top of the steering column. Great place to put it. Thanks, GM. Oh well. I can see the little screws for the bracket are right. I see that silver piece. Get a flashlight in there. There you go. kind of see the bracket. It's that white piece right there, right on top. So, should be able to get it in and out. Let's see what happens here. Those 5/8 or 9/16. I'll tell you here in 1 second. So what you're looking at is a 5/8 socket. That's what I use to take out those two bolts. You don't need anything on top. It's a weldment. So let's see if we can get this thing to, yeah, it's a little bound up. So I'm gonna figure out what's going on up front here and see if I can loosen it up to bring her down. So I just spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to do this. This was actually a 15, I don't know if you can see down there. There's a little clamp. I may have to get some light in there. It's getting dark here. 15 millimeter nut on there. I ended up having to use a whole length of extensions on that long 15 millimeter socket. Even had to the point of putting the whole contraption on before putting the ratchet on because it would hit my hood. Anyways, got that loose, and steering wheel dropped down. So that's going to make it pretty easy because I can now get to it, and I may do this tomorrow. I haven't quite decided. It's getting dark and I don't want to rush this and screw something up, so I may just go ahead and do this tomorrow when it's a little bit lighter. Hopefully I get off work about the same time. I could go get my headlamp, but I don't know if that's going to do too good. But the switch is right there. Maybe I'll just go ahead and do it tonight. Yeah, I'm going to need some light. So either way, I'm going to have to get my headlamp or something and continue on here. All right, new day, back at it. So what you're going to want to look at this time is, let's see if I can get the light in here. This thing is slotted, and you kind of, I don't know if I'm over, maybe that'll work. But you can see it's slotted. So you're going to want to index or make mental note about where it's at. Mine looks like it's pushed all the way forward. Doesn't look like there's much room. So I'm going to go ahead and pull these two screws out. They're 5/16 screws. And we'll pull it out here and unplug it. So basically, if you pull straight up, it will allow you to pull it off of the switch part of it. This goes to the key. If I flip this around, you can see there's only a couple locks up here on the top. I'm going to push those in and pull these out. So the next step is going to be, after you get it out, is to make sure the key position, which is this slider in here, is in the same spot. This is my old one, this is my new one. So I got those lined up pretty good. You can see it was pretty much shoved to the back by the witness marks there. It looks the same. So I'm going to turn around and put it together. Now the little clips, the front one, which has a orange wire on top for this is closest to the driver. This is the farthest away from the driver. Orange up here, yellow up here is my plug-in. This one had two little clips. You just kind of push down on either side and pull. This one only had one locking tab, and it was right here. So you just kind of push that down, and that was a clear plug-in. The other one was black. So I'm going to go ahead and put this new one in. We'll see what happens. Whew, what a mess that is. Got the new one in. Made sure all my plug-ins were good. I kind of question whether this one's used or the brake wasn't too good. But they're all pushed in. Got it pushed to where it needs to be. Back of my hand is all cut up from doing the automotive yoga. And I'm going to go ahead and put my steering column just back up on these two bolts. Not going to worry about hooking anything else up, and I'm going to see if it'll start. We'll see what happens. And here goes nothing. I put the neutral safety switch back in. Maybe it's going to need some more of this. There we go. Let's see if we got power at least to it. Well, unfortunately, that wasn't what my problem was. I still don't know. I'm going to have to do a little bit more troubleshooting, but that is how you install a ignition switch in a 70s GM or Chevy K10, C10, C20, C30, K20, K30. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps you out.